Now, a former Arsenal kitman is suing the Premier League club for unfair dismissal over some social media posts that criticised Israel's actions in Gaza. Academy kitman Mark Bonnik had worked with the club for 22 years when he was fired on Christmas Eve. He was accused of bringing the club into disrepute, as phrases he used on X, such as ethnic cleansing and Jewish supremacy, were reportedly inflammatory and reasonably likely to cause genuine offence to many people. Well, Bonnick since deleted his account and says the comments were taken out of context. The 61-year-old's now filed a legal case against his sacking. We've asked Arsenal for comment and the club is yet to reply. Well, meanwhile, some of Arsenal's international supporters clubs have backed Bonnick in a joint written statement, which says, "We call on Arsenal to apologise, reinstate Mark and unequivocally stand against all forms of discrimination, including against Palestinians. Protection of human rights must never be penalised. The club should not favour one cause over another, maintaining fairness at all times." Well, this is the latest controversy in the football world about pro-Gaza social media posts. In 2021, Arsenal midfielder Mohamed El Neni expressed support for the Palestinians, which provoked concern from club sponsors Lavazza, and Arsenal spoke to him about the wider implications of his post. While Bundesliga club Mainz terminated forward Anwar El Ghazi's contract in 2023 after he posted the phrase, "From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free" on his Instagram account. El Ghazi sued for wrongful dismissal and a German court ordered the club to pay $1.7 million in back pay. And to discuss the latest controversy, I'm now joined by the former Arsenal kitman, that's Mark Bonnik. Mark, thank you very much indeed for joining us. First of all, can I just ask you, have you heard from Arsenal any more regarding your claim for unfair dismissal?
Thank you for having me. Like I say, they've responded in a normal way in accordance with the process of a tribunal, and we're just waiting to hear a date to go into a preliminary hearing, and that'll happen in due course.
Indeed. Do you think that, let's look at those Arsenal values that the clubs say that you have gone against, because this is the claim, isn't it? Let's have a look at some of the things that they say. It's on their life and culture section in their website. And there's three points that they raise. One is always move forward. Two is be together. Point three is actions that matter. We do the right thing, even when no one is looking. Do you think then that you have abided by these values?
I always sort of got a little bit frustrated with those values. It's nice putting things down in writing, and they're probably the correct thing, but didn't live by them. I think I did, but that was basically off my own back, off my own morals. I just think there was one time where, and I'll try and quote a guy here, that it was, "I don't know why you bother, no one else bothers, I wouldn't waste your time, nothing ever gets done." But I couldn't. I had to keep trying to do the right thing, make the boys do the right thing so they're developers, players and people. You know, one of Arsenal's other values is better people make better players. That's another of their mantras.
Do you think that football clubs have waived their right to upholding what they consider to be a neutral stance on the political issues such as this, after they supported Ukraine, for instance, in the conflict with Russia, and also after Black Lives Matter?
I don't think you can have a neutral stance on apartheid, genocide, illegal occupation. I don't think there should be a neutral stance. I think people should speak out. You know, the morals are that you don't let people murder people. You know, I don't think neutral stance. Not sure they did.
I mean, some of these things that you're alleging are also are your individual views. But let's look at some of the media outlets, some of the expressions that they've used. There are banners like "genocide in Gaza" to describe the ongoing situation. Do you think then, given from your own experience and the words that were used in your own case, do you think these words are inflammatory?
No, because it's what's going on. It's, you know, that is, and I think some of the comments from the Israeli government lead into that can be seen as inflammatory. I don't think stating possible fact is inflammatory. I think it's people's reaction to the statement that might be inflammatory if you're trying to deny stuff.
So when you had your discussions then with Arsenal, I mean, I don't want to sort of go in too much into this particular case, but why were they saying then that, for instance, the expressions that you use are likely to cause genuine offence? Some of the words that you used in your tweet, and do you still stand by them?
Yeah, 100%. And I'd like to just say that the words I used, the terminology, the language was exactly what was coming out of Israel. And I was using the terminology people use from Israel to discuss stuff with me. They weren't it wasn't my expression, it was someone else's expression that I was using. That is the terminology I also believe that apartheid is in Israel. So it is about Jewish supremacy. If you watch Louis Theroux's Settlers, I think, is it Vice, basically says that.
So when you had your discussions with Arsenal, when you went in and they go through this process of saying we no longer want to employ you, what were they saying to you? What were there particular words that they used that they said they thought is inflammatory? What was their argument?
They used those, but also they had screenshots of my comments, and one of them was, this isn't about Jews or Judaism, it's about Zionist Israel and Palestine. And I think another was, please don't weaponise Jews, you're putting Jews in danger, this is about Zionist Israel. No, they then come back and all the paper, the media was all about anti-Semitism. There was no anti-Semitism, I'm not an anti-Semite. But then it sort of suddenly become, oh, it's not, it's about inflammatory and offensive comments. And I never got censored by Twitter or X for my comments. No one ever come back and said they were offensive. They only suddenly found them offensive when they were told to find them offensive. Arsenal, prior to the pile-on and the cyber-bullying, the Zionists getting at me, Arsenal had no calls. So, yeah.
As I say, some of these things that you are alleging that have happened to you, but in the meantime, do you think that the club was worried about wider implications?
Certainly, it's financial, isn't it? It's the same as what happened with Mesut Ozil. He was got rid of, basically, in my opinion, because of his stance, and it could affect their revenue. You know, Mo El-Neni, the quote from the club regards Mo was, like all employees, our players have the right to express their own views on their own platforms. I wasn't allowed to do that. I was told it was wrong.
Mark, very quickly, if you don't mind, why do you want your old job back?
I love the job, I love the club. I had a lot of good friends at the club and away from the club, people I'd met through the club, through football. I loved seeing the boys progress and move on and, you know, become young men. I think it'd probably be uncomfortable if I went back, and I'd probably speak out against stuff, and that'd probably just be an excuse to get rid of me. You know, when I was there, you stick up for the little man, you stick up against bullies. It's, you know, that's what I think I've basically done.
Mark, we'll see what happens, won't we? Mark Bonnik, thank you very much indeed for coming on.
Thank you for having me.